अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Let's read the seventh mantra. न अन्तः प्रज्ञं न बहिष्प्रज्ञं न उभयतः प्रज्ञं न प्रज्ञानघनं न प्रज्ञं न प्रज्ञं अदृष्टम् अव्यवहार्यम् अग्राह्यम् अलक्षणम् अचिन्त्यम् अव्यपदेश्यम् एकात्मप्रत्ययसारं प्रपञ्च उपशमं शान्तं शिवम् अद्वैतं चतुर्थं मन्यन्ते स आत्मा स विज्ञेयः। So, starting today, we will actually now approach the mantra itself. It's been building up as a background until that, but I think we can now begin to look into the meaning of the words of the mantra. The words of the mantra are various ways to describe you. Sa atma sa vijñeya. So please don't forget that what it is to give you the introduction about something that you are not very clear about at the moment, which creates all the problems in life. And so once the clarity of who you are is described in this important verse of the mantra, then a lot of the anartha, all the problems and so on, will disappear. This is the objective. So what we did last time was to say that there comes a point where you have to make the distinction between where you are making a mistake and who it is that is making a mistake, one which is mistake-free. And so that distinction, that viveka, you have to do alone. And so we saw that in order to develop that ability, that capability to be able to see that, you need a lot of things. You need the right environment, you need the right teaching, all kinds of things. And this is where, we were talked about the various kinds of blessings that one has to have in order to reach the point where you become capable of making that decision. And so, for example, there is Ishvara Kripa. So Ishvara Kripa also means that we have a flow of our vasanas from past lives, in the sense that we do both positive things as well as negative things. And so life is just a flow, a mixture of good and bad things in our life, as you know. And so to be able to achieve a human life itself is a very beautiful thing, very rare thing. And now once you achieve the human life, then to choose the right direction itself is a very big thing. And so this is what Ishvara Kripa means. You can tell Ishvara, please, I know I may have done some wrong things in the past, which I will have to feel the results of that. I know that, but can I please select this life in a way that I can stave off the problems of my past karmas that are not very good, and really proceed along good ones? Can you just sort of hold off the problems so that I can proceed? So this is Ishvara Kripa. This is Ishvara Kripa. And a result of that Ishvara Kripa is Shastra Kripa. So Shastra Kripa means that to understand the importance of Vedas, Sanatana Dharma. You know, this is where the Mahakumbha is going on in India, and what is very obvious from that is that the people who are keen to understand the importance of Sanatana Dharma, and out of that, there's a lot of faith, a lot of right living, etc. All of those kinds of things. So this is Shastra Kripa in a way. And then out of the Shastra Kripa comes Guru Kripa. So the Guru Kripa, you can say, is, even if you look at all of the sadhus and other people who are sincerely looking at Sanatana Dharma to carry them forward, it is difficult to find the kind of clear Vedantic thinking that allows you to focus on exactly what the issues are. They're all well-meaning. If you look at the interviews from the various sadhus and so on, they're all well-meaning in some way or the other. So they're all proceeding along the same improvements in life. But out of that, then to select a teaching, Vedantic teaching, is really what needs to be done. Because otherwise you don't really gain freedom, complete freedom. You're moving towards it, but you don't really finish the job. So the Guru Kripa comes in where you have someone who's able to show what needs to be done. So you have Ishvara Kripa, you have Shastra Kripa, you have Guru Kripa that introduces you to the subject matter, to the teaching, how to approach it, what is the Shastra saying, what is the difference between the general Hindu thinking and Vedantic thinking, which is a specific part of that. All of that is done through all these. Finally, it comes to Atma Kripa. So up to this time, all the various sahakaris, all the supporting things enable you to come to that point. And that means sadhana chatushtaya, having the right mind, health, relationship with your family, relationship with the world around you. All of that is all strengthening your ability to really sit down and see exactly what you need to do in order to be free. Up to that point, all those are necessaries. They're all sahakari. As we said remember the analogy that Swami Akhandananda had given, very beautiful analogy, that if somebody wants to be a prize fighter, who wants to be the best and really defeat anyone, kind of like a heavyweight champion. You can challenge anybody can challenge you, and then you say, no, I'm stronger than you, I can do it. So to come to that point, you need a lot of support. You need a trainer. You need sparring partners. You need good nutrition. You need somewhere where you can practice, build up your body in that particular case. But ultimately, there is a showdown. And in that showdown, where you have another fighter, and you, either in the case of boxing or wrestling or something like that, but here, the trainers are not helping you. You're not supposed to get any help from anybody. Nutrition, you cannot do anything at that point in time. You are it. You have become strong and now you have to fight. In Vedanta, they say exactly the same situation. All of these kripas, Ishvara and sadhana and all shastra and guru and all of these things are to prepare you in order to see what is going on. You have to do it. No one else will be there. In order to get to the point, yes, you need the support, but once you are there, very beautiful point, really important point, very important point. And if you look at the teaching of the Bhagavad Gita, it's exactly what Sri Krishna is telling Arjuna. Well, we have talked about this before also, that Arjuna and Krishna were friends, childhood friends. And there was nobody dearer to Krishna than Arjuna. So it's very possible that Krishna, being Ishvara himself, could have said, you know what, I bless you. I know you're feeling some problematic issues in your life, but you know what, I forgive everything that is going on. And now I bless you and you are done. You are free. This is not done. Not possible to be done. Krishna says to Arjuna, you have to do it. Because it is your ignorance that is keeping you from understanding. And I can help you to understand where the mistakes are. That we can all help you with it. We can educate you, we can make you stronger, we can make you more qualified, all of that. But in the end, Arjuna, you have to decide what to do and what not, what to know. So this is the thing. This is beautiful. And here, then, what you need to do is to resort to discrimination, viveka. The most powerful and the only, not only the most powerful, the only tool that you need in order to free yourself is viveka. And viveka means that there are two things that are getting mixed up in our lives. This is the nature of ignorance. The nature of our ignorance is that all of us, when we are born in this life, are mixing up two things and not able to separate them to see their independent nature. We're not able to do that. This inability to separate the changing from the non-changing creates this endless chapters of life, endless chapters of life. You are just struggling. Ultimately, the voice of the Shruti says, wait. You are mixing up two things. And if you are able to see what this mix-up is, that's the goal of life. That's what you have to see. So this mixing up of yourself, the Atma, with what you perceive to be yourself, but you are not, which is Anatma. This is what needs to be done. This is the final analysis. In the final analysis, this is what needs to be done. And as a result of this viveka, you will be free of the hold of the world upon you. Hold of the world means what? Means that I am at the mercy of things that are affecting me. And that's my whole world, whole life. Things that are really affecting me. I am at the mercy of Anatma. And it is exactly like a dream where nothing is really affecting you, but you feel you are getting affected. This is it. This is all that needs to be done. And we refuse to believe this because everything looks very, very real to me. The whole of the life, the whole of the world around me looks very real. Very real. What else is there? I don't understand that. But it is not. And if you see the viveka between the constant you and the changing not you, you will see that the hold of the world will diminish to a point where it completely disappears. This is the waking up process. And so Swami Akhandananda says, realistically speaking, this vairagya means to be at the mercy of the world. The independence from the world comes only from viveka. So the viveka, the discrimination between the right and the wrong, between constant and the changing, is due to jnanam, through the knowledge. So in a sense, the knowledge itself does not create vairagya, But Viveka creates Vairagya. So, you can take some very simple examples. One time, I forget, it was Swami Maheshananji giving this example, or Swami Akhandananda, I forget, since I've studied both of them. So there was a time when one of the Swamis was invited by a host family for lunch or dinner, and Swamiji was sitting there, and on his table were a bunch of fruits, very beautiful looking fruits. So Swamiji actually went towards the fruit so that he could have it. And the host said, Swamiji, 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 this is just a stone fruit. So Swamiji thought that it was an attractive bunch of fruits like oranges and bananas and my favorite, which is amrud, guava. The guava, of course, is a very interesting thing because it has a very strong flavor to it. You can even see that. But whatever fruit you like, mango, if you're attracted towards it and you go towards it, and somebody says, wait. These are just stone fruits. So when that discrimination takes place, either through informing, or you can even touch it yourself when it looks cold and hard. So you say, wow, this looks like a fruit, but it isn't. Will you have a desire to eat it? Will you break your teeth in trying to bite into a stone fruit? No, you won't. And so really what happens is that not knowing that this is false and really does not have any hold on me. No, I am the one that is empowering it to hold me. And it doesn't have any hold on its own. Once I realize it, the ball game is over. I no longer become a beggar looking for good experiences. I am okay the way I am. And this process can be either very sudden and complete if you are a budding Mahatma, or it can be a little slower. Very possible. One at a time. For most of the time it is because this is the latter, where one at a time, what used to bother you doesn't bother you anymore. You are independent. And that increases the viveka. When the viveka is increased, the vairagya increases. It's a push-pull. And there comes a point where the words of the Shastra become very real, that you're not affected at all. You feel like you're affected, but you're not. So this whole process, the whole understanding has to be done individually. This is the point. This is the point that they're pointing out. Okay, so now let's look at the mantra, the words of the mantra. let's look at how in my life I am making a mistake. And what is the method of seeing what the mistake is? This is what the 7th mantra talks about. There is some kind of a cover that is preventing you to see yourself as you are. Some kind of a some modification that happens. Which one is it? What are the things? So it says, na antah pragyam na bahish pragyam. So what is bahish pragyam? So the bahish pragyam is primarily when you are in the waking state. In the waking state, you are employing a variety of tools that you were born with. Sense organs, organs of action. So these are what would be called an upadhi. So now you can see all the background that we have done up to this point, because we have defined upadhis, we have defined how upadhi works, all of that. So now we need to bring it all together to understand the words and the sentence meaning of mantra number 7. So in the waking state, your upadhi is bahish pragyam. Bahish pragyam means your thoughts, these are what we call external thoughts. So external thoughts means what? External thoughts means that you're looking at yourself through the external upadhi. External upadhi means sense organs, organs of action, and the mind that supports it, that makes it real. So this is the upadhi. So we saw the one way to look at the upadhi is like colored glasses, right? Colored glasses. When you are looking at something through a colored glass, upadhi means something which is very close to you. So the glasses are very close to you, right? Covering your own eyes. It's not distant from you. So this is the word of the upadhi means upa. Upa means very near. So we saw that example that in the case of a crystal, the crystal will appear to be blue if there is a blue flower close to it. If it is far from it, then it does not become the upahita. So here the glasses are so close to you, you don't even realize you're wearing the glasses. But you're looking at things through the colored glass. And the external upadhi is the colored glass. I would say that it is, it's interesting that even a better example of an upadhi than a colored glass is a kaleidoscope. Kaleidoscope. So, we have all in our childhood have been given, you see the kaleidoscope and you see it through. And the reason I'm saying it's a better example is because it has a lot of action. A lot of action, a lot of variation, a lot of interconnection of the various lights and darknesses and colors and so on. So it's very active. So it's like you're looking at a kaleidoscope. So during the waking hours, you're looking at a kaleidoscope. And you are affected by it. Like a child, for example, or anybody for that matter, looking through a kaleidoscope, will say, oh wow, oh my gosh, look at this pattern, look at that pattern. So you're affected by it. Similarly, during the waking hours, we are affected by the kaleidoscope of thoughts that I'm seeing. That is an appearance. So here, the Vivekas should be now brought into the picture. I am seeing a lot of things. I am the seer of a lot of things. Okay, now set that aside. So this is Bahishpragyam. Then you go to Antavpragyam. Antavpragyam means a dream state. And now you can begin to see something really interesting. That the kaleidoscope that you saw during the waking is not always with you. You see, if the scene depicted in the kaleidoscope was real, you'll never be able to get rid of it. How effortlessly you got rid of it. And now you go into a different kaleidoscope. Colors are different, patterns are different. It's a completely different kaleidoscope. This is Antavpragyam. So here, sense organs are not involved. Organs of actions are not involved. All these external tools are not involved. But the vasanas of your mind creates the same kaleidoscope-like experience. Your own mind, your eyes are closed, you're lying down, but the experience of the kaleidoscope is still there. And now you have a different set of experiences. And you are the seer of a different set of experiences. So now there's an experience number one. So it's almost like, going back to the glasses. You take off those glasses, you put on something else. And you look at those glasses. Then you have a time where none of the glasses are there. It's almost like you have a band that is completely covering your glasses, like an opaque. So you now you are seeing darkness. You're seeing nothing. You're still seeing. How can you say that, that question can be asked? How do you know that I was seeing nothing? Because you cannot wake up from your deep sleep and say, I saw nothing, unless you saw nothing. See, this is an important thing. If you became nothing, you will not be able to recount that I saw nothing. But you do. So now we have it. And then we go back to the cycle. Jagrat avastha bahish pragyam. Then antaf pragyam. And here, for that matter, is ubhayataf pragyam. Ubhayataf pragyam. This you may have also experienced. Sometimes you are not fully awake. Not fully awake. But you are still not completely lost in the dream. It's somewhere in between. You may be aware of the fact that I'm now lying down on the bed and my head is on the pillow. And yet, you have some vestiges, some vasanas from the dream. It happens. One can see that. So this is what is called in between. Ubhayataf pragyam. So there we have it. Na antaf pragyam, na bahish pragyam, na ubhayataf pragyam. What do you mean by na antaf pragyam, na bahish pragyam? Not this, not this, not this. Then who? You are the seer of all three. Because you are somebody. You're playing different roles, you're going through different kaleidoscopes, but it is the same person who is looking at all three of them. This is Viveka. If you refuse to go in this direction, you can do so. You can say, I don't understand this seeing business and so on. That's just too theoretical and so on and so forth. Okay, all right, lead your life as you are and suffer through it. Same kaleidoscope experiences and so on. Nobody's asking you to do that. But if you really want to understand what's going on, then you proceed along what the Shastra says. That see, you are the Turiya. You are the fourth one. And the fourth one doesn't mean a separate state of experience. It's not even a state. But you are the basis of all the three states. Now you have one kind of experience. And until you begin to see this, you will not have the kind of relationship to the experience. If you know that this, I am wearing some glasses, I am looking through some kaleidoscope. Once you know that I am the seer of the kaleidoscope, then the whole of the kaleidoscope, will it be the same? No way. Because until then you feel, I am the experience of the kaleidoscope. But once you understand that these are interchangeable kaleidoscopes, interchangeable. Put one on, put it down, take up another one. Put that down, nothingness. Go back to Jagrata Avastha. And also, of course, you know by our background and our study that the Antav Pragyam can also be part of Bahish Pragyam. In other words, you are awake, but your mind plays tricks on you. And usually exactly that's what happens. It is actually, I would say, more often that even in the waking state, you live in a world of your own making. Pratibhasika Sat. You're not always just, looking at things and being involved with that. That happens, of course. But more often than not, you have Antav Pragyam as part of the Bahish Pragyam. The other way does not happen. When you are in dream, you won't have Bahish Pragyam. You will have only Antav Pragyam. But in the waking state, you have both Antav Pragyam as well as Bahish Pragyam. So that's what happens. That is what the Viveka is. That is what I need to do. Here Swami Khandananda had given this example I had given before, that there is let's say there is an Ayurvedic doctor, and he's a very skilled Ayurvedic doctor in the sense that they actually, in the herbs of Ayurveda, these are all foods. They are not artificial medicines. They are all extracts from existing things. And so he's very, supposing there is a doctor who is very skilled, he has learned how to mix up things and he's got his own laboratory and he can make potions, powders, kashaya, all of those kinds of things he does. Then he sets up shop where he dispenses that for patients. And he sits there and he's the one who is saying, what disease do you have? Okay, for that, here's what I give you. Take this, the instructions, and so on. And then there's some money that also changes hand. And then the final thing is that he's resting. He's not doing anything. So, it's interesting. My maternal grandfather, Dr. Shankar Das Mehra in Amritsar, he was both a businessman. He had three roles actually. So he used to own a factory for making cloth. So he was a cloth mill owner, a small one. It was a very fascinating thing. We would go to the factory and see how these machines are being used, weaving of the clothing, of the cloth of different kinds. And then his sons kind of helped him take over the business. So he was that. Then he was a homeopathic doctor. And he was also a Vedantic teacher. So he had three roles. So as a homeopathic doctor, I remember the room where there will be a door, and people will knock on the door and say, Dr. Sahab, I need this and this. So he would sit on a desk and be dispensing the medicines. But then he was also a learner of all the potions and kashayams that he would do on his own. Homeopathic is different, it's slightly different. And so he would be making all of that at a different time. And then, of course, he'll be resting. He's the same person that is doing all three. So this is exactly what we are doing. So we are interacting with the outside world. I am someone. I'm a student, I'm a teacher, I'm a mother, I'm a father. So this is one role that we are playing. Another role that I'm playing is I play with my own thoughts. And I read and I try to improve myself. Before I interact with anybody, I'm just doing a lot of laboratory work on my own. And finally, I'm resting, or even if I'm not resting, I'm just enjoying it, watching movies, whatever it is doing. Are there three people doing these three roles? No. So the Vedanta says, try to think about who you are. Because as a Turiya, you're not stuck with any one of them. I feel right now I'm stuck. No, you're not. And the only way to do that is to discriminate, to do viveka. That I am someone that is very skilled in playing these roles. Yes, but that's not me. I am separate from that. This kind of thinking alone will lead me to freedom. So here, we should see that thoughts are the same as seeing differences. Not the same, but they are intricately involved. Whenever there is a difference, that difference appears to me in terms of thoughts. And the thoughts appear in me. They are born in me. They play while they are there and they dissolve in me. And so the thoughts are not me. The thoughts are not me. Or you can say all thoughts are me alone, one or the other. 'Cause, 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 Like you can say that any one ornament is not gold. The ornament was born in the gold. It can stay there as gold and it will get dissolved in the gold. So any one ornament, you cannot say that gold is equal to one ornament, no. Or you can say all ornaments are nothing but gold alone. So here also, I get involved in thoughts, and the thoughts create a sense of differences in things. What is in Sanskrit called bheda. Bheda means a difference between two things. Like white and black. With the help of the eyes, my mind can distinguish between two colors. But the two colors, the two thoughts of the colors dissolve in me. I'm not always looking at white. I'm not looking at always as black. Whether they appear as white or not, they both dissolve in me. I am separate from that. So this is what it said. This is another way of looking at the seer scene. That the nature of bheda, of differences, is that they appear in me, but I am abheda. So here Swami Akhandananda has given, for example, the 5 basic kinds of bhedas that we see. Okay. One is a bheda of between two inert objects, what is called jada. Jada means inert. So like a book is not the phone. This is one bheda. I can see the distinction between the book and the phone. So this is jada bheda. Then there is the bheda between the sentient and inert. I am the sentient person. Sentient in the sense that I can move, I can decide which way to look at it, and the book cannot, it's just sitting there. So there is a distinction between the sentient and the jada. This is another kind of bheda. Right? Then the third kind of bheda, distinct bheda means the differences which are created by thoughts, is between one sentient and another sentient. Like between you and I. You're also sentient, I'm also sentient. But I can see the differences between them, between us. Fourth, number 4, between I, the sentient, what is called Jivatma, and the Almighty, Ishvara, Paramatma. is also a Bheda. Yeah, this difference between the Jivatma and Paramatma is absolutely a fascinating one, and we will look into that in more specifics as we go along. That study is so beautiful, so satisfying, I tell you. And that all comes from Mahavakya, when we begin to see the unity between Paramatma and Jivatma. We will look into that. That is really what we are trying to do ultimately. That's the crux of Vedanta. Vedanta, by the way, this is important to see. It is not just between Drishya and Drik, the discrimination, the Viveka that we saw between the seer and the seen. This is not just Vedanta. This is not Vedanta. It is part of Vedanta, but it is not the complete Vedanta. Because almost everybody can tell, even a child can tell that I am the seer, this is seen. So that distinction is very obvious. And so in the case of various schools of thought like Sankhya and Vaisheshikas, Bauddhas and Jainas, they all know this. There's nothing peculiar about it. What is unique about Vedanta is the Jiveshwara Aikyam. It is the identity between Paramatma and Jivatma. That is the uniqueness of Vedanta, which we will get to sooner or later. So anyway, right now there is a distinction. So that is a distinction between me, the sentient, and the Almighty, who is obviously sentient. You cannot just say that the Almighty is inert. And where the Almighty is, and what is our relationship, there is a difference that I don't quite understand. So this is Bheda number 4, right? And the last one is the Bheda between not only me and Ishvara, but between Jagat and Ishvara. So you see that the fifth distinction. So right now, let's go through all of them. One is the Bheda between one inert object with another inert object, like between a book and the phone. Number 2 is the distinction between me and the Jagat. Because the Jagat means the world around me, the world of experience, is partially sentient because of other people moving and partially inert, very much exactly like in a dream. In a dream also you will have a table that doesn't move, and you will have people that move. So anyway, the second distinction is between the sentient and the inert. The third distinction is between one sentient and another sentient. Fourth one is between Paramatma and Jivatma. And the fifth one is the difference between Ishvara, the Almighty, and the Jagat. These are the 5 kinds of Bhedas that all of us are dealing with, we are experiencing it, and so on. And here is the thing. All 5 Vedas require me, the Atma. All 5 Vedas are not in me. I am the Abheda. All the Vedas actually arise in me. They are born in me. And they cannot be without me. And they eventually dissolve in me. So a very small sample in the deep sleep is all these Vedas disappear. All the differences. There's no book, no table, no cell phone, no human being, no different beings, no Ishvara, no nothing, but I am still there. So the Atma is the Abheda, fundamentally Abheda. You see, the Bheda does not touch the Abheda. It arises in it. And it stays there, and it dissolves. The second sutra of the Brahma Sutra, hopefully we will study that sometime, exactly points this out. Janmadi yasya yataha. So it talks about the very fundamental nature of Brahman. Brahman means the entire Jagat arises in which, it stays in which, and Janmadi. Janmadi means Janma, Sthiti, Laya, all 3 of them. It's called Janmadi. All 3 of them arises out of which, stays in which. Stays in which means that it needs which to stay, and dissolves in which is called Brahman. And as we will study, this is a very important thing. The same thing happens in me. The final analysis is Brahman is not separate from me. Or I should say, I am not separate from, I am nothing but Brahman alone. But in the meantime, I am confused and I become a separate entity, not understanding that in me, though no Bheda can take place. And if no Bheda can take place, and it is still there, you see, you can say if the no Bheda can take place, then it may not be there. Shunya, as the Buddhists say. No Bheda takes place, but I am still there. That still there, it cannot be other than Brahman alone. This Aikyam, this is the fundamental fundamental aspect of Vedanta. None of the other schools of thought really do this. This is the uniqueness of Vedanta. This is the Jiveshwara Aikyam, to say that, my gosh, you are it. So here it should be seen that another aspect of this analysis, as we've been seeing, is that all that the Mahavakyas, all the Shruti Vakya equating the Jivatma and Paramatma, all that it does is to remove the ignorance of that fact. That's it. So it's very much like, what is the purpose of light? The light does not produce anything. By supposing you have a machine that produces things. You have certain ingredients that can be made into a chapati or a roti. It does something, a person. The light doesn't do anything. It does not produce anything. What it does, the only thing that it does, is to reveal what is. Like, for example, supposing you are awake in the middle of the night when it is complete darkness. You cannot even see your own hand. And you start walking, especially in a new place that you've never been there. If you don't have any light at all, you may stumble onto some object like a chair. Supposing you go out into some new place and in the middle of the night you have to go to the bathroom and there's no light at all. And then what you do is you switch on a light. And the switching of the light produces the exact objects that you have to avoid going into the bathroom. Otherwise you'll run into it. So it produces the object not because it produces like a roti or a chapati or a machine, but it reveals what it already is. This is the nature of the light. So a Mahavakya, the great sentences of Vedanta, the basic teaching of the Vedanta, is like light. It does not produce freedom for you. Because that's the thing. All of us in life, all of us, every one of us, is looking for freedom. Freedom means I don't want to be dependent on anything. I want to be independent. And we do a variety of things in order to become independent. And in the eventual end of our life, we discover we cannot be independent. You know, this often happens with for those of you that have lived with parents that are extremely old, and you will see this experience, that they do not like the fact that they are not being useful, they are becoming a burden. They don't want to be a burden on anyone. We hear this from the old people and say, I don't like the fact that I'm bothering you, I'm becoming a burden on you. Of course, nobody likes it. It's not like they have a peculiar nature. They're very wise that they don't want to be. Anybody wants to be dependent on anybody? Nobody wants to be dependent. So they all feel that, but for a while you are able to take care of yourself and helping others. But finally, first of all, you decide, you feel that I am very dependent anyway. And in the end, you die thinking that I am not independent. So we are all trying to become independent, to be free, to speak of, to be free. That's what freedom means, to be independent, not depend on anything. So what the Mahavakyas do is not to give you freedom, not to produce freedom. It is to reveal that you are free. Just to reveal. And it does it by equating Paramatma with Jivatma. So the Bheda between Paramatma and Jivatma is not real. It does not touch the Atma, which is Abheda. So all it does is to say, see that you are not any different. See, you are the same person, the Turiya, that has all these experiences, but the experiences do not touch you. See this fact. All Bhedas are thoughts. They arise because of thoughts alone. And thoughts by themselves arise out of Abheda. See this. Bhedas cannot touch Abheda. Differences cannot touch non-difference. You are the non-difference. So in effect, Jnanam dispels Dvaitam by showing you are Advaitam. All Dvaitas are your own imagination that do not touch you. This is the Viveka that we have to become equipped with and to be very clear about. This is the message of Vedanta. So, na antah pragyam, na bahish pragyam, na ubhayatah pragyam. We'll continue with these now that we are on to the words used in the mantra. We will now take up all of the words used in the mantra and then summarize. Saha Atma Savigyeya. He says, please understand who you really are. Vigyeya, may you know. And with this knowing, you find that all Dvaita, all sense of Bheda, Bheda means Dvaita, is Mithya. And you are the Abheda, the Advaitam. So we'll continue with this analysis of the seventh mantra in the next class. Om Asatoma Satkamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Excellent. Good, good, good. To see people coming back from their trips to India. Sanjeev. And although I don't see him here, Virag also is back. So good. Happy you're all back safely. Hello to Krishna Birru. Haven't seen you for a while on this. And all others. So I don't see any questions, but hopefully I'll see you next week.